Hello guys, Bearded Brush, and here we are. The second warband is finished. I'm very pleased with it. I hope you guys are as well. Um, where do I start? I'm trying to think what I left off on the last update. So this is obviously vlog 6, part 6. So I think in the last video I'd got them reasonably painted, and obviously they weren't based fully at all. So I'll sort of just bring a little update. Obviously you can see them as much as I can explain, but yeah, they're all completed now. So one I'm most proud of is the Bannerman. I'm really proud of this. I'm going to try and get it focused just a teeny bit better. There we go. So I spent a lot of time on the banner itself, and hopefully you can see. I can see it. I'm hoping you guys can. But I've spent ages with a very fine brush doing loads of fine crisscrosses. So what I did is did the usual highlights of the red to obviously get that 3D effect that all us painters always after, and obviously put the little Mount Gundabad symbol, which I'd found from a Google Images. Just looked up Mount Gundabad symbols and things. There's loads of like artwork and people's interpretations of the mountains, and come up with that one, which I think is really cool. Sort of three mountains, obviously Mount Gundabad in the middle. There's a little red gap there, and that's where there's meant to be like a bit of an Eye of Sauron type thing going on. I haven't actually had the courage to try and put an eye in there. I do kind of like it as it is. It kind of, for me, it sort of looks like a foreboding caveway entrance, but maybe in time I will actually add something into it. But that's what's a slight gap. That's where I got the image from. But yeah, did the usual highlights, and then I wanted the flag to have a real thick, densely woven hodgepodge style look to the actual the stitching, the making of the material, because obviously orcs aren't known for their finesse of needlecraft. And I wanted it to have a real thick look, almost like a potato sack sort of like material type look. So that is what this crisscrossing is. So for the very final highlights, I actually used that final highlight as the crisscross going through all the reds. And you should just make it out on the... try and focus in. There we go. No. The wonders of technology, people. My wife will vouch for me. I'm an absolute technophobe. There we go. Perfect. So you just see all the crisscrosses there. And I'm really pleased with how that's come out. It goes all the way across. I've tried to do it in different angles. So you've got diagonal going this way, and then you've got diagonal coming across this way. So that goes right through the flag. I double layered up the crisscrosses, painfully so, in certain areas to try and make it a little bit more standoutish. So in the shadows, you can't quite see it as well, but that is intentional. And then for the actual higher raised areas of the flag, banner, whatever you want to call it, that's where the brighter and thicker highlight is to really make it stand out. I did a similar thing on the actual white of the Mount Gundabad symbol itself, and on the little diamond drops here in the tops. Same thing to obviously continue that through. And I even went as far as sad, some might say, as to try and match the white lines of the weave to the red lines of the weave to make it obviously look like it's literally gone right through, and this has almost been sort of like white paint washed within the material type thing. But yeah, so that's the Bannerman. Really come out well. Did some crisscrosses on the wooden pole to make it look, it's got like a, I don't know, like a wooden grain look to it, or like there's something sort of wrapped around the pole itself to help it be held. But yeah, I'm hugely proud of that miniature. It came out really well. I've had a bit of a love-hate relationship with this army the last few weeks, as I've mentioned in the last video, just because it's doing the same army for basically over 6 months now. It does get a bit tedious, so that was a really cool sort of highlight for me to do that. I have this dude here. He's the one that I forgot about because I started work on Azog. So his base needs to be finished, but yeah, that's the last of him as such to be done. Captain, usual thing, lots of stones. I went for a more stony look with this guy in the sense that there is literally no static grass on this space at all. I may put in some sort of like a brush, or like a hedge brush, I should say, or like some sort of purple flower type thing. Just having give it a little bit of colour. But I wanted this to look a bit more stony, a bit more barren, just to make it look a bit different compared to the other captain, basically. And with the third warband, which I will eventually get, they will be much more stony. There won't be as much like foliage and grass and things to them. And then as for the rest of the guys, it's pretty much what you see is what you get. So they're all just your standard warrior. It's got some conversion pieces on there. So you got like this dude obviously with his shield. It's all done now. It's all painted up. The helmets are really cool. It's all done. Bases, I added a little bit more of the white static grass onto these bases, and I wanted to give it the look of a bit more of a frost. The other guys have got obviously the more autumnal look to them. They've got some of that white static grass there, but I want each warband, because obviously these guys will eventually sort of mix together as I'm making the warbands and as I'm doing things and playing them. So having all these themed bases for every set of 12 blended together will make that natural gradient of a difference of the land they're walking on. But for these guys, I wanted a more heavy approach of the white static grass to give that frost like early morning mist sort of thing. As usual, I've got to tidy up the black rims. They will be blacked out. But yeah, that's how they are at the moment. Who else we got? I haven't done many spearmen with the shields because I plan on buying some more shields, maybe experimenting with the blue stuff to create my own shields with blue stuff mold, and then make the green stuff shields through using the blue stuff mold. We'll see how that goes. If not, I'll just buy a load more, but that'll take money up, so that will be a slower, longer process. Like I say, with the third warband, I do intend on sort of repositioning some of these. There's some very noisy sparrows out there. I do intend on repositioning the next batch of spearmen so that they're sort of more stood, holding shields rather than holding the spears and the shield just sort of conveniently strapped to their back. So obviously spearmen are going to sort of try and create a shield wall type effect. Although with these shields, I mean, they're very well, they do well in combat. Obviously these shields, from a sort of a historical accurate point of view, these shields are more designed for offense than defense, really, I'd say. I don't know what you guys think, but I mean, look at them shields, especially these ones, obviously designed for the spearmen more than the swordsman ones. The swordsman ones are a bit more wrapped around their arms. Like if you look, for example, here, this dude is angled shield. There's no way in hell that's going to ever be anything other than an offensive shield and a one-on-one combat type shield. That's not going to work in a shield wall whatsoever. It's got points all over it. It's designed for offense. But the spearman shield, it's still more offensive, I suppose, but it is longer, so it's more in a defensive sense of the word, I suppose. And looking at the angles of it, you can see you've got like a hole up here, groove, you've got a hole there, it's a groove, you've got a hole there. So you could say in a realistic sense of the word that these shields will be dug into the ground here at this point to create a solid base, to then thrust the spears through like these gaps here. So you could create more of a shield wall, I suppose, compared to swordsman. But they're still very much an offensive type shield, I would say. I don't know what you guys think of that as just a little observation. I need to rewatch the film actually and really look at the Gundabad shields and see what their fighting tactics are within the film, if you can get such an accurate representation from a fantasy type thing. But yeah, these guys are definitely designed for full-on attack and offense rather than defense. But yeah, I'm going to be doing some repositioning of these guys, having them stood more, angled more. I mean, this guy, for example, if I could reposition his arm using some green stuff, different bits and bobs, you could also have it so the spear is resting upon the shield through that hole, that groove in the back there to make it thrusting through. I could have it so he stood, so this arm's holding the spear up, like next to him, with a shield held across, so he's got like across his body, but like a Roman soldier type character. But yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, got leaf there at the bottom, and just gone for the usual foliage as well. Obviously, on these guys, they've got a little clump. It's a clump foliage, the little sort of foamy type material you get from railway scenics. Use them. Have a cool helmet from the conversion kit, upgrade kit, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, and that's these guys done. So I hope you like them. A third warband will eventually be on the way. Once I've got Azog done and a couple of other Forge World models for this army, that will probably be it for the time being, and then I'll sort of just add to them as and when. I want to move on to other projects now. But the next video will be Azog. You'll get to see him in all his glory. So I'll leave it there. So thanks ever so much for watching, guys. As always, really do appreciate it. It's awesome. What do you guys think? Any tips as usual? Any sort of ideas, compliments, or sort of, better if ideas? Anything I could add to these guys? Any tips like painting the armor? Do you think there's anything else I could do with the next set of bases? So anything real epic sort of thing? Let me know. That'd be awesome. Thanks, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.